recipe, I said it's all grind. Had to go through in the rain to watch the day shine. This testimony taking faith, my glory go to God. Said I'ma keep this pace, I ain't racing this marathon. Package up in my carry-on, smooth, super shy vibe. Sit back and play it cool while we vibe out. Sit and taste this food, have a drinking good time. Well, we all living fast, but we gon' die flies. We gon' die flies.
Do say my cup on this one.
Chef.
It's Malachi. Welcome back to another episode with your boy, Chef St Erik, as I take you along on these culinary adventures as I create memories through food. I'm back at my old stomping grounds, NOCHI, my culinary school, New Orleans Culinary Hospitality Institute. I was invited back by the staff to be a part of their big charity event that they host yearly to raise money for scholarships, facility funds, things like that. And what they do is that they get a chance to show off their students, what we have become, who we are, and our great food that we make for the world to see. It was truly an honor, surprising, humbling when I received the email asking would I be a part of this event. And then finding out that I was going to actually be in the main room was absolutely terrifying. I know that I cook well, but the imposter syndrome in me still really kind of doubts myself on the quality and how well I actually do cook. I'm told this all the time, but as myself, as the creator in me, I still doubt this every single time. But I came up with a particular menu that I thought that would be seasonal to go around with what is offered, but also memorable, right? So I wanted everyone to make sure when they got this bite that they understood first the creativity, that they understood the skill, and that they understood who I was and what I'm bringing to the table. You feel me? So what I did was I created a gazpacho shot, lots of flavors. It was spicy. I threw some jalapenos, some ginger to give it a kick because, gazpacho with all those veggies and stuff, it's not that much flavor. So I gave it a little kick. I wanted them to be like, ooh. And then to come back with a herb cornbread Parmesan gorgi, right? So a nice bite, a nice shot. I think it went extremely well. T. Martin with Commander's Palace is pretty much one of the founding members of NOCHI. And of course, she came around and she tried everyone's food and gave, comments here and there. And when she tried it, she just looked at me and she said, damn, and walked off. So, of course, I'm sitting there back holding in tears. I'm like, oh, my God, T. Martin. Then I'm just like, okay, maybe I got something. Maybe I really do have something, right? And this moment and what NOCHI represents to me is the pivot in my life. I haven't really spoken a lot about who I am, how I actually got to NOCHI, and actually want to take this video to kind of tell you about that. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I moved down here in January 2020. I know I've mentioned that before. But NOCHI is really a true testament of the pivot in my life. I still remember the drive down. And I talk about the drive down because it was so monumental in my life. I'm driving down I-49, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. Not many cars out. And I remember pulling into this gas station that had a McDonald's. And that's where I stopped to fill up, and I got something to eat. And I remember pulling off. And I just remember the range of emotion coming over me because I knew that I didn't have further to go to New Orleans. In my rearview mirror, I could see just everything that I could pack to put in my car. Some shoes, some clothes. Had, I think, $300 in my pocket. That I'm stepping out on this journey. And I remember when I pulled off, the range of emotion that hit me, the chills running down my spine, I'm shivering in my hands and my feet and my arms, tears just falling down my face, my shirt just wet because I keep wiping my face. And I just remember saying, like, God, like it's me and you, like this is all I have, you know. And my mantra at that time was just, what if? Like, what if, right? What if I actually stayed in Shreveport and never went? What would my life be? You know, would I ever sit back and actually regret the decision that I made? But then when I'm on this journey, it's like, what if? What if this moment that I'm actually creating is the stepping stone to everything that I've ever wanted in life? What if? What if? What if you have to risk it all to gain it all? Right? Jay Salmon said the pivot is not the end of disruption process, but the beginning of the next leg of your journey. And when you go through your pivot, it's not going to be easy. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, today I'm just going to change and everything's going to be fine. Man, I was brought down to, it felt like the lowest, but it was fine. You know, like it felt low, but it wasn't a low of like turmoil. It was just a low of like, okay, we have to figure out a way to navigate through life. And in culinary school was not easy for me. I hadn't been in school for over a decade. A lot of my class members were younger, way younger, most of them in their young 20s or mid 20s. And here I am in my early 30s trying to recreate a new career. I felt like almost like a phoenix coming out of the ground sometimes. But it was tough. It was so tough. I spent my days in one of my friend's extra room in her house, sleeping on an air mattress. I had a lamp. I had one of her son gave me a little table, so that's where I propped my computer up and used my air mattress as a bed. I had to get up at 5 a.m. just to make sure I beat traffic to get to school. I had to park under the underpass in this parking lot where rats would run through, where it had standing water, homeless people all around. So I never knew if my car was safe or not. And I would go to school during the day, get out, school about 2, 3 o'clock. Then do work study to about 4 or 5, prepping for events. So just cutting veggies. My cutting game is true. But cutting veggies, prepping up for other people's events. And then take the streetcar down to the French Quarter where I worked at a restaurant in the evening times. And if you ever rode the New Orleans streetcar, it's not the most glorious situation, even though they make it out to be. But it's usually overcrowded from tourists and people trying to get into the city. It's hot. So you're sitting there melted to the seat, your shirt and your butt stuck to the seat from the sweat. The only air that you have are the windows from like the older buses where you have to squeeze the tabs together to bring it down. And this was my life for months, 6 months. And again, I was here in January 2020, so COVID, dealing with COVID, coming back to New Orleans to again start life again. And these moments really built me. They were my stepping stones to where I am now. I really had to realize, and later on in the journey, I realized that everything that I've ever gone through in life has prepared me for now. Every battle, every loss, every win, every moment I've been prepared for. And these are the things that I've counted on and I've stepped on to really be able to be successful. I don't really talk about the money that I've made or make or things like that, but I've made 6 figures for the last 3 years of this journey. I've made more money doing this, following my passion, following the things that I love to do, than I made being a hotel manager, working in 4 or 5-star resorts, being responsible for over 300 people, having managers and directors that report to me, being the person, being the face of something, and never getting the respect, never getting the accolades, never getting anything back for the time that I gave. But now that I've used all those tools, all those meetings that I sat in, all the people I've met, the conversations, the learning how to manage multi-million-dollar businesses, how to read and create budgets and P&Ls and customer service and just the things that go along with business, being a salesman. Every single thing that I've ever learned has come back to me. And it's crazy that sometimes I think about, like, man, like I've gone through these situations, the losses that I've taken. Even when I was fired from my job in 2019, I walked out of there and it felt like such a relief, but I didn't know what I was going to do next, though. I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be standing, giving people gazpacho and cornbread Parmesan Gorgies that I made with my hands, and people, the reactions that people gave me when they drunk that this gazpacho and they ate that cornbread, and they just looked at me and like, oh my God. And it's like, did you make this? Yes. Me and my hands, we made this. But every time, in every point in your life, you will have a pivot. And at that moment, you have to decide, what are you going to do? Who are you going to be? And how are you going to proceed? But you got this. Like, you got this. You were and you are prepared for this journey. You don't have to second guess yourself. You don't have to third guess yourself. You got this. And as long as you believe in you, it matters what no one else says. I lived my life a lot for other people, for other people's dreams, for me, to make other people proud. And I never lived life. I am just now understanding and learning what life is. Sometimes I get down on myself and I get upset because I feel like I've wasted so many years. But then I have to turn around and realize that those years weren't wasted. They were lessons. I was learning. I was learning so that now I can produce, I can execute, I can thrive, I can live my dreams. I used to sit in my office. I had this poster board up, and I would have all of my employees or whoever would come in my office, like, write your goals down, write your dreams down. I mean, the poster board was from floor to ceiling, as long as probably 10, 12, 13 feet. And it would be filled with people's goals and dreams and what they wanted to be. And mine was always this little corner, this top left corner, because I wanted it close to me, something I can kind of look up. So I would kind of sit back in my chair and kind of just look up at the board. And I would use these goals and dreams and things when I talk to my employees or people that would come into my office. You know, sometimes when you meet people or you talk to people, you know, you kind of tell sometimes, it's like, hey, do you need to talk? And so when I would talk to my employees, I would use their goals. You know, where are you? Check in with them. You know, have you proceed? Have you completed this goal? If you have, cross it out. Have you ever crossed out a goal before? That feeling of crossing out a goal or checking it off is magnitude. It's heavy. But I would sit back in my chair. I would look up at this poster board, look at my little small goal, and I always would put on there, what is my purpose? What is my gift? Why am I here? And this question I would ask over and over and over. Curse at God. Is like, God, why haven't you revealed who I am? Why haven't you revealed what my purpose is to me? What is my gift, Lord? And then I was let go. And I felt this weight was lifted off my shoulders. And my biggest downfall was being loyal to them and not loyal to myself. But I thank them. I thank my old hotel immensely for everything it taught me, for everything I had to go through, for the seasons that it actually took me through. Because now I know who I am more as a person than I was then. Let me go, then I never would be where I am today. Physically, actually in New Orleans, actually being a chef, actually being a person following their dreams. Are you ready? Are you ready to risk it all to gain it all? Are you ready to live your purposeful life? Are you ready to make your pivot into the best life that you've ever had? I'll leave you today. And I just want you to follow your dreams, man. Follow whatever it is that your heart desires, that you can live a beautiful, purposeful life. If you win today, you win tomorrow. If you win today, you win the month, you win the week, you win the year. Win the day. Peace out, y'all.